Hello there. This weekend I went to my local theater to watch a film and saw The Creator. It's a sci-fi action adventure set in a dystopic future. The film was directed by Gareth Edwards and written by Edwards and Chris Weitz. The premise is a little bit complex, so I'm just going to lay out the foundations here. In the world of The Creator, humans have developed AI into robotic support staff called simulants and integrated them into every facet of human life. Then one day, a simulant detonates a nuclear bomb in the middle of Los Angeles, and the government of the United States bans all simulant use and research and declares war on anyone who continues it. The film's story follows an American soldier named Joshua, played by John David Washington. Joshua is deep undercover looking for the leader of the simulant resistance, Nirmata, or the Creator. He inserted himself into a resistance group, but ended up falling in love with one of its human members, Maya, played by Gemma Chan. He and his wife were celebrating the upcoming birth of their child when an American attack on their compound kills his wife. Joshua returns to America and tries to reintegrate into society but struggles. After several years have passed, Colonel Howell, played by Allison Janney, approaches Joshua and asks him to lead a mission against the Resistance. She tells him that the Resistance has a superweapon that could destroy all of humanity and that his wife isn't actually dead. She's with the Resistance still. Joshua goes with the soldiers and leads them into a secret laboratory, but interference from the local police causes them to rush their plans. Joshua is left alone to destroy the weapon, but when the vault opens, he only finds a simulant girl, played by Madeline Yuna Voiles. The girl claims to know Maya, so Josh sets off on a journey with her to find his wife. On the way, he must avoid the US military and the Resistance, both of which want the girl. The story is a fast-paced adventure in which Joshua and Alfie bond while in the background the Resistance and the US military duke it out. The film has a lot going for it in terms of its visuals and its soundtrack. The visual world that they create out of CGI and real sets feels like a fully realized future. They have architecture and societies built around simulant use, and the film goes out of its way to show off huge chunks of the world through the story. We get to see a huge variety of cultures and locations, including at least 5 different towns or cities. Everything from the giant metropolises in America to the tiny rural towns of New Asia. They built a whole new world for this story. The action sequences involve futuristic-looking technology and humans fighting robots. The action is more realistic and involves a lot of gunplay and explosions, with some of the weapons the Americans use being outright terrifying. The soundtrack sees original songs and scored instrumentals support the story to the fullest. The original songs appear all the way throughout the film, and they tend to be catchy and fit the mood. At times, it seemed like they were trying to make the Americans and their weapons seem evil by the sound alone. The scored instrumentals appear during the big story moments, and they track the scenery beat for beat. They turn scenes into cinematic moments and build out the atmosphere and emotions perfectly. All that said, this film struggles quite a bit with pacing. The story is rushed from start to finish, and the visual journey is too. To explain what I mean, I'll give you an example. The film starts with an infographic that explains the backstory of simulants and the war between them and the US. Then it skips right into the first attack beginning. There's no explanation about who Joshua is, what he's doing, or why the attack is happening, and it's all over in the blink of an eye. We see things play out with Joshua and his wife, and then the scene cuts to black. The very next scene is General Howell and her followers explaining to Joshua the mission they want him to lead. All of the story is told through exposition, and they skip so much time. For the entire film, they cut from plot point directly to the next plot point. It feels incredibly jarring at times, and it requires you to assume huge parts of the story. The visual journey suffers a lot from it too. It feels like huge sections of each scene have been cut away in order to fit it all in, and it makes you wonder what you missed. Like at one point, Joshua is sneaking into a compound to find Alfie, but he just appears inside the compound, underneath his objective. We don't see him sneak in, or even arrive at the place. He just appears there. It's lame, and after a while of them not setting up any of their plot points, I ended up losing interest in the story altogether. You don't actually spend any time with the characters experiencing their journey or their bond. We just see snapshots of it, like a highlight reel from a television show. We don't get to know anyone besides Alfie and Joshua, and even they are left rather underdeveloped. The fast-paced nature of the film even ends up killing all of the performances. The general cast is doing their best to fit in with the environments and build out their characters. We even get some pretty solid moments from actors like John David Washington, Ken Watanabe, and Sturgill Simpson. The problem is that none of them get the time they need to properly develop their characters or show off their emotive abilities. There are so many big emotional moments in this film, and all of them are cut in half. Even the dialogue is kept to a bare minimum. If you saw the trailer, you heard like 40% of the dialogue in this film already. Overall, The Creator is a mess of a film. The editing and pacing are so poorly done that they take away from the rest of the film, and the actors' performances are sabotaged. There are some cool visuals and the soundtrack was well used, but if you're looking for a coherent storytelling experience, this isn't it. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 5 out of 10. It has some decent visuals, and the soundtrack works well. The actors are trying, and the film even takes some visual risks that I think are worth seeing, but don't expect a good story. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Bye-bye!